Alright, good afternoon everybody. My name is Justin and this is going to be a video of me building a filament dry box. I found this design online while looking for ways to keep my filament dry. I'm new to 3D printing and I've experienced stringing, as I think all of us have. And one of the most common reasons that I've learned about for why filament would string when you're printing is moisture in the filament. So was looking for ways to keep my filament dry. I found this design on I think his name's Gun PLA Mark on YouTube, and it's basically 100% his design. I think he got it from another gentleman named Stephen Wardlow, and made a few modifications to it, and this is my version of it. That is basically the same thing, other than I've modified the filament guide part to accept a round hygrometer. So let's get to it. So I'm going to start off with snapping in the hygrometer. Just you're going to want to put it in where you want it because it's a tight fit, and once you get it in there, it's going to be hard to adjust. It just snaps right in. So that's done. I've went ahead and pre-drilled all the holes so you guys don't have to watch me drill holes. You can see all that excitement in Mark's video. So I'm going to go ahead and install this now. And it just sets in the top here. It's going to face the other way. Takes an M3 by 8mm screw. And actually I have to pull this nut through first before I put that in there. There's a receiver here for the nut, and we're going to use a washer to help pull that nut through. So right now I'm printing a little hammer I designed for working with 3D parts. That's using a carbon fiber PET G, and it's going to pause in the middle of the print, and I'm going to insert some BBs into the hammerhead to give it some weight, and we'll see how that turns out. If it turns out good, I'll have it uploaded to my printables page, my account on printables. Alright, so that nut's in there good. I'm going to leave the washer on this screw because I think I got that little hole a little big this time to mount this. This is my second time building one of these. Alright, so that sits in there like that. Then relative humidity in my office here is a 59% right now. So, and this little meter has a button on the back of it. Now I got it in there. It's going to be a little hard to get to, but I could change from centigrade to Fahrenheit. And then next thing I'm going to do is set this aside, or where we have it, might as well install this Bowden coupler or quick disconnect for PTFE tubing. I'll have all these parts linked in the video. Mark signed a nice little rocket nut here. should be good. So one other change that I made, not really a change, but convenience thing is, I didn't lose it already. Here it is. I'm gonna add, Mark added a little plug for this coupler, but when you put it in, it's hollowed out to where once you have the filament loaded, the filament goes inside the plug, and then you put this in here, and the film, when you go to pull it out, there's going to be enough filament sticking there that you can pull it out without having to open up your dry box. But with this design, it fits really tight with the coupler, and once you get your fingernails under it like I just did, it can be use two hands. It's a little hard to pull out sometimes. So one thing you could do is you can go into the STL file and modify it and extend this, because I think it's just going to butt up against that nut, and you can make it longer. Or I just was a little lazy and decided to take some tubing and I'll press that on there. And I cut this to 1.5 inches. We'll see if that's going to be long enough. I think it's going to be. Probably a little, yeah, probably take 1/8 of an inch off there. Do that really quick. So now it's a little easier to just put your fingers there and pull that off. Okay, so that's the top of the dry box. The bottom half of the base, as Mark calls it, is just the lid of your cereal container. And you just pop this, the lid that comes, this flip that comes with it off, and throw it away. And then these are the bases that just come together with this cleat type system, I think it's called. Not sure what that connection's called, but it's pretty nice. And I went ahead and printed these with the base, the support version that Mark provided, and these are the supports that come with it. And I'll be honest, they were a little on there, a little tight. And I printed this all in Filament Pet G clear, and I just used my crescent wrench to while holding it, and you just got to be careful. Open this up wide enough to fit on there, and then just be careful and wiggle it loose, because I had a little bit of a hard time doing it. Maybe I need to eat more vegetables, but yeah, that's how I got it off there. So this just sits right down in here, right in the inside of the lid here. And one thing we might want to do before we put that in is go ahead and take our filament basket, or not filament, our desiccant basket here, a little bin to hold some desiccant, and get it filled up. And along with drying your filament in a dryer, once your filament's dry, then you're going to want to have some desiccant inside this dry box, because just putting the filament in here with the desiccant isn't good enough. So we need a little bit of a desiccant here. Just fill this basket up. Wasn't an exact measurement there, just kind of, see how it looks. And there's little tabs on this basket that align with the lid part, and it snaps in there like so, and there's your desiccant now. And then it just replaces the original lid, and there's little notches here for your fingers, so you want to make sure to put it with the notches aligned so you can get it off. And it should press right in there just fine. Don't want to spill that stuff everywhere. There we go. So that's all good to go now. And we're going to set our base. This is what the filament's going to ride on, or the base for the bearings and axles that the filament's going to ride on. Get these supports out of the way. So we're just going to take 2 bearings. These aren't the bearings that Mark has referenced on his YouTube video. They're the same size though. There are some bearings I already had. So I didn't need to order some different ones. And then he's provided these nice caps that have this straight piece that comes off. The axle is actually has a flat edge, kind of like a motor shaft, and then you slide the flat edge of this plug or this end cap on the flat edge of the axle. And this is what I'm printing the little hammer for. Is I went to do this yesterday and I had to use the wrong tool for the job, but it works. Just kind of tap that on there a little bit, and then now the bearing slides up against there. Then we're going to put this one on. We're going to tap this end cap on. Let's see if it goes all the way without any. Now I got it too far. We want to have it flush with the end of the axle, and then push the bearings out over those little flat edges on the cap, and it lines up perfect in the little carrier. And then the filament spool will ride on this axle. Build the other one here. Again, just take this flat little tab he's got sticking out, line it up with the flat edge, and that one slid on there just fine. Put your bearing on. The other bearing on, put your other end cap on, that's good enough, slide it over, and now our base is done. This filament was dried yesterday, but I think I'm going to dry it again. This is some polycarbonate filament that a colleague bought me, and really eager to use it, but was trying to use it and was unsuccessful because it was moist, it had water in it. And so I'm hoping now drying it and keeping it dry, I'll have better luck with it. So now the filament just sits right here on this rack, like so, if you drop it on there correctly. And then you just take your, I'm going to have to make sure that's not tangled now, but I can do that later. Take your plug out. Feed your filament through the end of this nut, through the quick disconnect tube, and hopefully you don't make the dumb mistake I just made, a rookie mistake there, and let your filament get away from you like that. And definitely want a situation like that, I will not be using this roll of filament until I've unwound all of that and made sure it isn't tangled, because I have had a tangle happen and it's not good. It literally will pick your printer. I have my printer in an enclosure and the filament sits on top, and the tangle happened and it picked the extruder was pulling feeding the filament, and it picked the printer right up off its base, or picked the whole printer up off the end table it's sitting on here. So here's what I was talking about earlier, how the filament slides in this end cap, push it in here like so, and then there you go. So now you'll have this all sealed up, sitting on your shelf or wherever you keep your filament. And then go to use it, you pull this cap off and feed your filament in your printer and you're good to go. So this is my my build of Gun PLA Marks Filament Dry Box. I think it's an awesome dry box. I have one up here running right now, or feeding my PETG carbon fiber filament for my print that's going right now, and it seems to be working really good. So I'm really happy with this, and really appreciate the design. So good job, Mark and Stefan. And if you want to use the round hygrometer, I have a modified STL for Mark's filament guide on my printable site, and you can use the round hygrometer. Close up this desk here. All right, everybody, have a good evening.